Okay, let's talk about 5 dishes you absolutely think you know. Sushi, ramen, tempura, soba, and udon. They're some of the most famous foods on the planet, right? Well, what if I told you that almost everything we assume about their history is wrong? The real stories are honestly way more surprising than you'd ever guess.
So really think about it for a second. What if the food on your plate has a secret, a hidden history? What if the real story behind, say, a bowl of ramen completely changes the way you look at it? That's what we're getting into.
Because that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna look beyond just how amazing they taste. Each one of these dishes is basically a time capsule. It tells a story about history, about invention, and this is the big one, a relentless, almost obsessive Japanese art of perfection. And we're gonna start with some origins that are gonna blow your mind.
All right, part 1, surprising foreign origins. And yeah, this is where the first big twist comes in. 2 of the dishes that feel the most Japanese, they didn't even start in Japan. Not even close. We're talking thousands of miles away.
You heard that right. Tempura, that incredibly light, delicate, fried masterpiece, its origins are in Portugal. And ramen, the ultimate Japanese comfort food, started out as a simple Chinese noodle soup. So look, the real story isn't just where they came from. It's about how they were so completely transformed into something new, something uniquely Japanese.
And the key to understanding that transformation is this one incredible concept, Wakan Yosai. It literally means Japanese spirit, Western learning. Think of it like a philosophy. Take a good idea from somewhere else and then just refine it, obsess over it, apply Japanese techniques and aesthetics until it's not just adapted, it's perfected into something totally new.
So let's take tempura as our first case study. Back in the 16th century, Portuguese missionaries brought over this dish. But it wasn't the tempura we know, not at all. It was a heavy, greasy fritter, think green beans, fried in lard. They ate it during fasting periods called the tempura, and boom, that's where the name comes from. It's a world away from the light, crispy perfection we know today.
So how do you get from a heavy, lard-fried thing to something so ethereal? The answer is pure science. Japanese chefs figured out that the enemy of lightness is gluten, so they basically reverse-engineered the perfect batter. Step 1, use low-protein flour for less chewiness. Step 2, keep everything, and I mean everything, ice cold. This slows down the gluten from forming. And step 3, and this is the crazy part, barely mix the batter. Seriously, those lumps you see, they're not a mistake, they're the whole secret. That's what stops it from getting heavy and bread-like. It is Wakan Yosai in a nutshell.
Okay, now on to ramen. Its story starts in the late 1800s in bustling port cities like Yokohama. Chinese immigrants brought over a noodle soup they called Shina Soba, literally Chinese noodles. It was simple, it was hearty, it was perfect for laborers. It was popular for sure, but it wasn't the national obsession it is today. Not yet.
So what happened? Well, ramen's journey from street food to global icon is really a story of modern Japan. First, after World War II, Japan was starving for rice, but there was a flood of cheap wheat from the US. Ramen noodles became a literal survival food sold from little street carts. But then, 1958, a moment of absolute genius. Momofuku Ando invents instant ramen. All of a sudden, this delicious, complicated soup was in every kitchen in Japan. And then, when cup noodles hit the scene in '71, that was it. Ramen went global. All right, part 2, from survival to art. This is cool because for our next 2 dishes, the story is totally different. The transformation didn't come from the outside, it happened entirely within Japan. We're talking about food born from pure necessity that became high art.
Let's start with sushi. And first things first, we have to get the biggest myth out of the way right now. Sushi does not mean raw fish. It has nothing to do with fish, actually. The word sushi literally means sour rice. The rice, the shari, that's the real star of the show. It's the one thing that's been there from the very beginning. And the history of sushi is just wild. It didn't even start in Japan. It started in Southeast Asia as a way to preserve fish by packing it in fermenting rice. And get this, they threw the rice away. They just ate the preserved fish. It took centuries before people in Japan thought, hey, maybe we should eat the rice too. But the real game changer was in the Edo period. Someone invented rice vinegar. Suddenly, you didn't have to wait months for the rice to ferment. You could make sour rice in minutes. This was fast sushi, and it led directly to a chef named Hanaya Yohei creating the nigiri we know and love today, right from a street stall. It went from preservation to fast food.
And here's a little fun fact for you. Back in the 8th century, that original, super early form of sushi,
It was so valuable, you could literally use it to pay your taxes. Just imagine trying to do that today.
Okay, next up, soba. We think of it now as this elegant, refined noodle dish, but its origins are about as humble as it gets. Buckwheat, the plant soba comes from, was basically a lifeline. It could grow in these tough, mountainous places where rice just wouldn't survive. For hundreds of years, it wasn't even noodles. It was just a simple porridge people ate to keep from starving.
But then, in the massive city of Edo, what we now call Tokyo, soba got a brand new job. You see, all the rich city folk were eating tons and tons of polished white rice, and they were getting sick from a vitamin B1 deficiency. It was so common, they called it the Edo sickness. And what's packed with vitamin B1? Buckwheat, soba. Suddenly, these humble noodles weren't just food, they were medicine, the delicious cure for the city's biggest health problem.
And this completely changed how people saw soba. It became cool. The people of Edo even developed this whole ritual for eating it. You had to slurp loudly. That cools the noodles down and lets you taste more. You only dip the very tips in the sauce and you eat it fast. It wasn't rude. It was a whole vibe. It was called iki, this kind of sophisticated, understated city chic. Eating soba became a performance.
Okay, part 3, the soul of simplicity. For our last dish, udon, we see a completely different kind of story. This isn't about adapting foreign ideas or evolving from survival food. This is about taking something incredibly simple and perfecting it.
Just 3 ingredients. That's all it takes to make the perfect udon noodle: flour, water, and salt. That's it. So the magic here, it's not in some secret recipe. It's when 100% in the technique.
And that technique is all about achieving one thing, a quality called Koshi. Now, Koshi isn't a flavor you can taste. It's a texture. It's a feeling. It's that perfect, wonderful, firm but chewy but still elastic bite. And you only get that by kneading the dough and kneading it and kneading it until the gluten structure is absolutely perfect. That texture is the entire point.
And that's why udon is such a perfect example of another Japanese aesthetic, shibui. Shibui is all about finding beauty in things that are simple, subtle, and unobtrusive. Think about it. Ramen is all about adding layers of complexity. Udon is the opposite. Its greatness comes from stripping things away, from subtraction, until all you have left is the perfect noodle and a pure, clean broth. So, let's bring it all together. After digging into these 5 amazing stories, what's the big takeaway? What your food reveals. It turns out, each dish, even with its totally unique history, tells a similar story about that same drive for perfection. Right? You've got tempura and ramen, which show this genius for taking a foreign idea and refining it into something new with that wakon yosai spirit. Then you have sushi and soba, which chart this incredible journey from just trying to survive to creating sophisticated art. And finally, udon, which shows us the beauty of perfecting something simple, that idea of shibui. They're all different paths, but they all lead to the same destination: mastery.
So here's the final thought. If a simple bowl of noodles or a piece of sushi can hold centuries of history, of philosophy, of human ingenuity, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What stories are hiding in the food you eat every day? What history is sitting on your plate, just waiting to be discovered?